Today, I want to talk about audition directions. Should you follow them? Should you ignore them? Should you do one your way and do one their way? But before I get into this, I want to talk about an experience I had recently that might put this into perspective. So a few weeks back, I received a voiceover commercial breakdown. If you don't know what a breakdown is, it's a term that's borrowed from the acting industry. It's basically like a sheet, like a PDF, with all the information about the project and the role that you're auditioning for. So in acting, it would tell you how your character that you're auditioning for fits into the story and what the story is about. In commercial voiceovers, it would be about the campaign, the commercial campaign, and it would tell you what they're looking for in the character that you're auditioning for. Could be the announcer or any other character. So it might say things like, we're looking for someone with a voice that is conversational, warm, and human, and truthful, or a comedic dad. So usually it's a long list of adjectives. On that voiceover breakdown, you'll often find voice references, and they can be really wide-ranging. Sometimes there'll be an interview with an actor, and it could be because they're looking for someone who sounds like that actor or has a similar attitude to the actor.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Sometimes they'll include campaigns that they've done previously, or even just a completely different campaign from a different company. Could be because they like the texture of the voice, they like the speed at which the actor's going, the performance, could be the tone of the voice. There's a million different reasons they've included that in there. So you have to pay attention and see what is it in there that you can do or that is like you. And if you have something similar and you can perform something similar, then you're in the game. So back to my story. So I receive a breakdown from one of my agents, and it's a great breakdown. It's a video game company, and they're doing basically like little trailers for Mario. So it pays well, it's a nice little campaign, except there's one problem. There's a character in, I think it's Super Mario Plus, named Rosalina, and the voice reference that they have for this commercial is of Rosalina doing these really high-pitched sounds like, hey, woohoo, three, and things like that. And, you know, when I hear that, I'm like, why did my agent even send this to me? This is crazy. I can't do that. That's way too high. So I start writing her an email saying, you know, this isn't really my casting. I don't want to make a fool of myself. I'm going to pass on this. But then it was a good gig. So I go back to the breakdown and I read it again and I listen to the voice reference again. The thing I noticed about the voice reference is not just the high-pitched sound, is how positive and upbeat and bright it was. And I can do that in my range. So I decided, you know, I'm going to do this my way. And that's exactly what I did. And I sent those to my agent and I said, look, don't hold your breath. This is not my casting. I almost didn't do it, but here you go. I did it my way. Well, lo and behold, a couple days go by and she texts me. She's like, well, I'm really glad that you recorded those commercials because you booked the gig. And I was like, cool, that's awesome. So fast forward to a couple days later when I actually record the gig, I had a moment with the casting director. And he said to me, he said, you know, we sent this breakdown to everybody and we got all these auditions giving us exactly what we were looking for. But then the client heard your audition and he said, that's what I want. And I was like, yes. This is not the first time this happens to me. And one of the reasons is that clients don't always know what they're looking for. It's not uncommon to see a breakdown one week, say they want XYZ, and then a week later you see the exact same breakdown, but now they want something completely different because the auditions they received didn't work. That happens all the time. So if you're not feeling connected to what they're asking for, but you still like the script, you like the money that it represents, you've got to do something that will work for you and still be authentic. So you can throw that direction way out the window. And what I did is I did throw the direction out the window, but I kept the energy of the voice reference. And in the end, when we recorded, you know what's funny is that we actually used an even lower range than I recorded in my audition. So they actually really did want somebody with a way lower voice than they thought they were looking for. So it just goes to show you have to trust your instinct. If it doesn't feel right for you, don't make a fool of yourself. Just do what feels good for you and do it in an authentic way. You know, if I had submitted to my audition with a fake kind of high voice, it would have been weird for me, it would have been weird for my agent, and it would have been weird for the person listening on the other end. You know, so instead I did something that could work, but is a little bit different. Now, do I always ignore directions? No. If the directions work for me, if I can meet them there, I will. Sometimes it's a matter of tweaking yourself a little bit, adding a little smile, adding a little warmth, adding a little this or that, and you end up kind of meeting the breakdown. But if I get an idea or I feel like I can make this a little bit more unique by putting my own spin on it and I record it and I feel like it sounds better, then I put that one first. That takes some courage, but once you do that, it's a courageous act. But you know, the truth is there's not going to be any voiceover police coming to get you for not following the rules. The thing is you're going to stand out, and it's very important to stand out because if you get 200 auditions, if you're a casting director or producer or client and you receive 200 auditions, you're going to be surprised at how many of them just sound exactly the same. So by you putting your twist on it and doing something right off the bat, it usually hooks people in. And even if you don't get the job, you stay in that person's mind. Now, you might be sitting here and thinking, okay, that's fine and good, but how do I do that? How do I make something, unique or put my twist on it? Of course, this comes with coaching. Like most things I talk about here, coaching is really, really important. In fact, when I coach students, what I do is we focus on your energy, what you bring to the copy. And then over time, we start to work on directions to see what little tweaks you have to do with your instrument, you, in order to meet those directions. And that's how you start to find, okay, this is me and this is the direction. And there's you on different days in different ways. And that's all stuff that we learn in coaching. So coaching is very important. But I wanted to talk about this because people get hung up on directions. And I don't think you should. I think you should try and follow them if you can. But if it's just not jiving with you, fly solo, be bold, be courageous. Oftentimes, if you have the craft to support your work, you'll be rewarded because you're going to stand out. And in a world with a gazillion talents, standing out is a good thing and an important thing. And yes, in this day and age, it is absolutely possible to stand out. That's why I wanted to share this story. If you like the content on this channel, please subscribe. This is a labor of love. And also thank you all so much for your comments and your questions. It really just makes my day to chat with you and get to know you. So thank you, and I will see you next time.